رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي. السلام عليكم. Look at this perfection in the Qur'an, linguistic perfection. Just comparing two verses, they're showing the stages of human growth. First one is from chapter 22, Surah Hajj, verse number 5. Look at the stages of human development. We did create you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then developed you into a clinging clot, then a lump of flesh, fully formed or unformed in order to demonstrate our power to you. Then we settle whatever embryo we will in the womb for an appointed term. Then we bring you forth as infants so that you may reach your prime. Some of you may die young, while others are left to reach the most feeble stage of life so that they may know nothing after having known much. Focus on the old age and the way it's described. The second verse that we'll be comparing this with is Surah Ghafir, chapter number 40, verse number 67. It is He who created you from dust, and from a sperm drop, then from a clinging clot. Then He brings you out as a child. Then He develops you that you may reach the time of maturity. Then further you may become elders. Now the word used, now in the previous verse it had said the Arabic was أرذل العمر, and here it's translated as you may reach the feeble age of life, that you may know nothing after having known much. Here the Arabic word used for old age, the stage of the old age that is used is shuyukhan, which is translated as elders. And elders is something, this was something negative, right? You may know nothing, you reach a feeble, weak stage and know nothing. The word shuyukh, elders, is a more respectable term, meaning more, it's a term that dignifies, shows respect and honor to the old people. The word shuyukh in Arabic, and in English I've chosen translation that shows the closest word to honor, dignity and respect in old age, meaning being an elderly person. And the reason I'm saying the shuyukh is used for respect in a respectable ways, because look in the Qur'an, even in chapter number 11 verse 72, it's used for a messenger of God. That's why it's an honorable term. She wondered, oh, how can I have this child in this old age, and my husband here is an old man. The word sheikh is used for Abraham. This is the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And even for Yusuf, Yaqub alayhi salam, even here you see for in chapter number 12 for Jacob, prophet Jacob, they use the word sheikhan kabiran. He has a very old father who is the father of Joseph, who is prophet. So the word sheikh is used for prophets. It's a very respectable, honorable term, and here it's used in chapter number 40 verse 67 as well. So the question is, why would Quran use a word that shows weakness in chapter number 22, whereas it shows a word that shows honor and dignity in chapter number 40? That the answer lies where? Exactly in the context. In the context of chapter number 22, if you see the verses before this verse number 5, where it says that you are created into a weak person and you haven't known much, look at the verses before it. Look at the type of language it uses. It says, and you would see people as if they are drunk. Look at the state they're not in their full strength. Look at this, it's showing weakness, and they will not be drunk, but the torment of Allah is terribly swear. And then look at the mentions it makes. There are people who dispute about Allah without knowledge and follow every rebellious devil. And then it says, look, in the exact same verse it says, oh humanity, if you are in doubt about the resurrection, talking about doubts, right? So in this context, it's talking about not having knowledge, arguing about Allah without knowledge, having doubts about resurrection. In that context, weaknesses, it's appropriate to say you are left to reach the old feeble stage of age, that you may know nothing after having known much. It's appropriate in linguistically, I'm talking in the context when there are weaknesses in knowledge, having doubts, etc. The stage of old age it mentions is the one where you become really weak and you forget a lot. However, if you see the context of Surah Ghafir and see the verses before it, and if I start, this is verse number 67 that we are discussing. Let's start from previous verses, and it mentions the blessings of Allah upon a person. From verse 61, it is Allah who made the night that you may rest there in the day, giving sight. Indeed, Allah is the possessor of bounty for the people. He's giving you bounty. It is Allah, the creator of all things. Then it says Allah is the one, verse number 64, who made the earth a place of settlement, the sky structure, formed you. Look, it's even talking about formed you. When Allah formed you, perfected your forms. Why would He talk about a weakness in us? And provided with you for good things. It's a good context about the blessings of Allah. So in verse 67 He comes and says the stage of old age He mentions is the one of being a sheikh. You see, sheikh, which means what? You become elderly, a respected, honored elderly person in the context of blessings. Why would He show a weakness when He's showing the blessings? Subhanallah, everything in its context perfectly. That's why I've been mentioning this before as well. These single miracles form part of the structure of complete miracles. Every word in the Quran being in its right place, in its right context. And this is linguistic and then numerical and all scientific miracles, etc., etc., which go on to show that the Quran was not any random word written by a random human being. Everything was placed in its place for a purpose, to knock on our doors, to show us that this word can only be the word of God. May Allah give us complete conviction in the Quran as the word of God. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.